And tonight, NATALEE Holloway, the American teen who vanished in Aruba in 2005. Her mysterious disappearance is back in the headlines. Now, the Associated Press is reporting that a new witness has come forward. Who is the witness? And where is Joran van der Sloot tonight? Joining us by phone from Aruba is Jassie Mansour, publisher and managing editor of Diario newspaper. Good evening, Jassie. Jassie, the AP is reporting, and I must say that it conflicts with the new information that we've been gathering the last 6 months, but I mean, it's in some ways. But what is the AP reporting about a new witness?
Well, what they're referring to is this Celeste lady that was interviewed by De Vries in the second program that he showed on TV. What they're referring to is that she was a friend of Joran, that 2 or 2.5 years ago. She was with him. She went on the beach with him. That he asked her, what do you think if you suffer the same disappearance of NATALEE Holloway? I think everyone is referring to this as new evidence. It really isn't. It was shown on the program of De Vries.
When did she come forward to talk to the authorities?
Well, as far as I know is that she was interviewed by him. I don't know whether she came to the authorities before. Apparently, the prosecution in Aruba is saying that why did she wait so long to come forward?
Well, that's not all the prosecution is saying tonight, which leads me to the question of the prosecution. Are they doing anything to investigate this case as far as you can see?
As far as we can see in Aruba, absolutely nothing. All they're saying is, and they're sticking to, is that by the end of the year they will make a decision, a final decision, whether to take the man to court or close the case forever.
Well, they've issued a statement tonight, Hans Moss, the prosecutor, and says in part that they're still trying to investigate every last lead, which frankly is a lie, and I'll talk about that in a second. But Jassie, is there any enthusiasm to investigate this case? I know the prosecutor doesn't, I don't know if the prosecutor's doing anything, but what about people on the island? Do they want this case buried or do they want this solved?
No, they're indifferent to this case now because so much has gone on in 3.5 years. And the people are busy with other things, other situations here. So the people of Aruba are not that interested anymore in the case.
Where is Joran van der Sloot?
Well, we presume he was last seen in Thailand. After that presentation of the show of De Vries, he disappeared. No one knows where he is.
How about Deepak and Satish Kalpo?
You know, they have played their part extremely well by being so quiet and so silent. I mean, they don't give out any kind of statement, no interviews, nada.
What about Paulus van der Sloot, the father of Joran van der Sloot?
Well, he's practicing law in Aruba. He's representing some people that have confidence in him, and we normally see him in court.
Carlos and Charlie still there, or is that under new management, changed names?
Yes, it has a new management now, but it's still there.
What do most people think happened to NATALEE?
Most of us believe that what Joran said on the first program of De Vries is correct, that she died in his arms, but not from seizure. We don't know how she died, that he called a friend and the friend dumped her in the ocean. That's what most people believe. Is
there any suggestion that there was a boat there that night or any ability to dump her into the ocean?
Well, probably, because there were some boats nearby, especially the boat that ferries tourists to the Tattoo ship, which is a tourist ship. There must have been other boats in the vicinity, else Joran would not have invented this with De Vries.
In terms of boats, just so that we have some sort of idea of the geography for people who need to be reminded, how far, for instance, is Aruba from Venezuela?
15 nautical miles is the nearest point between Aruba and Venezuela.
And do you know, and in terms of boats that night, do you know if any thorough investigation, one that you would have confidence in, has that been done?
No, it hasn't been done, because that night somebody in the police force told the people handling the radar that controls the boats in the vicinity on the coast of Aruba, told them to put it off.
Jassie, thank you.
Sure.
Joining us by phone is NATALEE Holloway's mother, Beth Holloway. Good evening, Beth.
Yes, hi, Greta.
Beth, you know, people haven't heard from you in a long time. But many of our viewers, you know, are anxious to get the answers, anxious for you to get the answers. And the question I get so many times is, how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing good. I'm trying to stay busy, and you know, when things like this come up, it's just it is hard. It's very difficult to balance everything and try to feel your way through what's real and what's not real. But I mean, you just try to do it the best you can.
Well, I suppose I should tell the viewers that, they know now, at least if they read Greta Wire, that we've been working on this case and working rather aggressively since something we started in June, and I've kept you aware of that, and we're going to air it on Monday. But just sort of focusing on the report tonight from the Associated Press, which is different from the information that we've been working on. Do you get a ton of phone calls the minute these things hit the wires?
I do. And sometimes it catches me off guard. Sometimes I'm not even aware of certain things that are, surfacing in the news because obviously we're not kept very well informed from the prosecuting attorney. So, it's like, and I said, it's just hard to disseminate between what's real and what's not real.
You bring up the prosecutor. The new prosecutor is Hans Mosser. He's been new for about 3 years. Has he ever called you, originated a phone call to you?
No, never. No, and he would not. And Greta, it would never be too late. I would love to get a call from him. I mean, I feel as if sometimes we have this self-imposed timeline on justice, but, there's not a timeline. It would never be too late for justice for Natalee's case, and I would very much, appreciate any kind of call to receive from him.
Karen Janssen was the original prosecutor, and Hans Moss took over. When she left Aruba, did she call you and sort of tie up loose ends, or did she just sort of vanish from your radar screen?
No, just absolutely vanished. Had no idea she was even leaving so quickly as she did. So, that's always been an issue, just no communication from the prosecuting attorney's office. And, it just leaves you wondering, where are you? And you hear all this information coming from them saying that they're following up on every lead. Well, that's just simply not true. They are following up on any leads.
Has there been, when we said the two prosecutors, have any of the police officers, anybody from Aruba at all contacted you and said we are doing anything on the case at all? Is there any reason for you to believe it's being investigated?
No, absolutely none. No, not at all. Not to any degree.
How hard is this still? I mean, it's been, she disappeared in May, and I know that you had a broken heart, every parent I ever talked to, but what's it like day to day?
Well, day to day, if you try to, like I said, trying to have a healthy balance of, still trying to maintain some sense of normalcy in my life as far as still doing, I do a lot of engagements. I was just in North Carolina last week for a women's leadership conference, and and still trying to get back into teaching. But it's hard when it is coming out to where we see the latest with Iran when he's now coming up in Bangkok and engaging in these activities, and it comes out of nowhere and blindsides you and just totally sends you back to the very beginning of, we feel like we're still haven't made any traction in the investigation of Iran.
Well, I told you that we pledged to try to get the information we could. Because we've kept you abreast that we have a new lead. We have new information. It's either a wild goose chase or it is the answer. But we'll be doing all that hopefully on Monday. But Beth, thank you, and I know you'll be watching Monday.
Yes, and Greta, I would just love to say that, like I said, it's been a long time, but it's never too late for justice. And I'd be good with the Midnight Express prison anywhere for Iran.
Beth, thank you.
Thanks, Greta. Bye.